Hey, it's Aaron,
And it's Kristen.
and this is Drive Mode Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
Today, we're going to talk about jealousy.
Envy, one of the seven deadly sins.
Yes. We're going to talk about all the cool supercars that Kristen got to drive, and I didn't even get to look at.
I sent you pictures.
Yes, that's true. So, it's a short list of automakers, but not a short list of cars. So, where do you want to start? Should we start with the Aston Martin because it's alphabetical?
Sure. Aston
Okay.
Martin DB12. I know. It's a Aston Martin likes to call its cars brute in the suit. And I understand why, because it has a ton of power and in a pretty package. It's one of
Yeah,
the most beautiful cars on the road. And it's like it's like driving an English country manor. you
yeah.
know?
Uh,
It's
um,
really beautiful.
Aston has, I don't think they've ever made a car that wasn't some sort of instant classic collectible. Uh, every one of their cars is beautiful. And I am like, I don't know how to make like a super jealous face for a thumbnail for this. So tell us about that DB12.
So it's a 671 horsepower V8, 4-liter V8, and it feels very powerful under the surface and it looks very beautiful. Of course, it's very comfortable. People stare as you drive by. They're like, "Is that James Bond?" It's Jane Bond. So it does have a second row, but not much of one.
Mhm.
It's pretty tight. So don't try to stuff your teenager in there.
So you'd call it a 2+2?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it's
Um,
technically a 2+2, but it's not super comfortable back there.
yeah. Well, any vehicle I've ever seen that is basically a 2+2, that's the back seat is for insurance purposes. Uh, so, all right, a DB12. That's such a beautiful car. Aston Martin has they're known for their designs, their interiors, and their engines. Um, what about electronics? How about their infotainment system, their dashboard, those things?
So this is the first time that Aston Martin's created its own infotainment system. Before it's used previous gen Mercedes infotainment systems. And it's better than it was in the past, but it's still quirky and weird and kind of awkward
Hmm.
to use. It's not nearly as good as, say, Stellantis system or Toyota's new infotainment system, which are both really, really good. GM's as well, because there's multiple ways that you can control the audio system and the volume. The Aston Martin infotainment system is just kind of odd. I feel like it needs another glow up.
Hmm.
Pretty cool. But that's just not where they put their money. I mean,
Right.
the car is such a beautiful car and it runs beautifully. Just inside, you have to be willing to deal with an infotainment system that's not as good as others.
And to be honest, it's probably not their market. Um,
Yeah.
Lexus was able to get away with a horrible infotainment system for a long time because that's not their market. The people that are buying those cars, they don't necessarily care about that. Um, and also, it's been interesting to me that up until just recently, luxury brands have usually not had the best infotainment systems. Um, but now, Mercedes, I would consider it the best on the market. Um, uh, Uconnect from Chrysler is right behind it there, but really, Mercedes has really done a great job, and I see them as the benchmark now. So
Huh.
it's interesting because the other one that I've been watching and that I've learned to enjoy is actually Volvo's Google-based system. When it first came out, I hated it. And then I started using it and I realized this is exactly like my phone. And then it got really quick that I got used to it. Little things. And then there's other things that I don't like from manufacturers just because my personal quirks get in the way. Uh,
Yeah, we're picky when it comes to audio stuff.
yeah, especially audio stuff. All right. Next on the list, Lamborghini.
Woo! Lamborghini, the Raging Bull.
And so I didn't say a model because it's all of them.
It's all of them, except for the new Temerario, which is not really out yet. But Lamborghini invited me to do an ice drive with some of their customers 2 hours north of Montreal. And so we were driving on a frozen lake with about 3 feet of ice. And they informed me that that was more than enough to land a 747, so I didn't need to worry about the ice cracking. So we drove the Urus SE, we drove the Huracan Cerato, and the Revuelto. 1,001 horsepower on the ice is insane.
I can hear Patrick Rawls' jealousy from here because none of that is Mopar, and that's a way bigger number than is on his car.
Nope, nope. And it was really incredible. They had pro drivers take us around the course. The first time we did it was at night, and we drove around this figure eight. And then the next day, we took the Huracan Cerato on a skid pad and just learned how to drift it on the ice. That was my favorite one.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. The Revuelto was a lot harder to control on the ice. And I had one instructor was like, what did he say? Don't accelerate here. But what he meant was take your foot off the accelerator altogether. So we had a disconnect. When I see hear
Okay.
somebody say don't accelerate, I'm thinking, okay, keep it steady. He's
Yeah.
like, no, take your foot off.
Yeah. I had a similar experience on a racetrack with a pro driver taking me around. Um, and on the second run, he was telling me what he was doing as he was driving, and I was trying to watch his feet and not throw up. And it was the same thing. He would say, "Don't accelerate," and what he meant was take your foot off. So it's got to be a racing thing. It's got to be some sort of something that people. Because I would have said the same thing. Because I think off road, don't accelerate means hold the throttle steady, and just go at your pace over whatever
Yeah.
you're doing. So
Yeah, it's very different. And comparing it to like recently I drove the new Dodge Daytona, Charger Daytona, the electric car on an asphalt skid pad and learned how to drift that. And like the difference between drifting that EV and
mhm.
shifting the weight between that and the Lamborghini, they're very different, but they're both really, really fun.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So every
Yeah.
Lambo model,
I would say the skid pad part was my favorite, but the
cool,
Revuelto is still my favorite car. It replaced the Aventador S in my heart.
so
I
pretty.
know.
Yeah. Okay. What's our last one? McLaren. That one's in your driveway right now.
Yes, I have a McLaren 750S in my driveway right now with the scissor doors and a frunk. It's got the mid-engine and it's so quick. You
Yeah.
would not believe how fast it goes off the line. Like it's stunning. This car bucks you when you try to go slow. Like it
Yeah.
literally is like, let's go, let's go, let's
Yeah.
go. And it's really funny pulling up to the high school because the kids are like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's funny because I recently had a Genesis G80, and it's a beautiful car. And I pulled it up to the high school. Nobody cared. I pulled it into the old folks' home to go visit my friend at this it's a anyway at this old folks' home basically. a hospice place, and it's like everybody's like, right, all about the audience.
Yeah, it's really
So
funny to see people's faces. And this is the
these
convertible.
does McLaren call those scissors doors? Because I've always called them butterfly doors because they come up like this, or do they
I
swing up
always
straight like this and not move out at all?
They swing up,
Okay, and
don't
they
move
don't
out.
flare out. Because when I drove the 570, they came out, so it was like a butterfly door.
Huh.
But that I think there's a generational difference here. I think a couple things have changed since I drove it. That because that was I don't know that was 5 or 6 years ago. So I think something has changed.
This is not a car for you if you don't like attention, because
Yeah.
everywhere I go, people want to know about the car. They say, cool car, or I like your car, And they did that with the Aston Martin as well. We pulled up to the baseball game and we pulled up near a bus where the opposing team was getting ready to leave. And this kid opens the bus window and he yells out, I like your car, ma'am.
That's pretty
It's fun to
awesome.
see the kids get excited about it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. So that's a total of five supercars here.
Yeah.
Three Lambos, a 750S, and the DB12
Yeah. That represents a couple $1 million of cars. Yeah.
represents like months of jealousy, I think.
They're pretty special. It's hard to give them back. I have to give the McLaren back tomorrow and I'm not looking forward to it.
Uh,
Today
yeah,
I'm going to take a long drive.
that's probably the worst part about what we do is we get a vehicle no matter what it is, and we fall in love with it, and then we have to give it back. Otherwise, it's Grand Theft Auto. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's like fostering puppies, like
yeah,
we really
yeah,
love them. And then somebody comes and takes them. And it's
yeah.
sad. But
Ah,
it's pretty special. And it's really fun to see what automakers can do. And if you have the means to buy one of these cars, which range from 300,000 to 800,000 in the case of the Revuelto. I may never have that kind of money in my lifetime, but it sure is nice to test them out.
yeah. I mean, it's the automotive industry is really fun. It's really cool because there's so many great things happening, um, and different approaches to the same thing. Like we're talking about five different models that are aiming for more or less the same buyer, and they're taking completely different tacks to make that happen. It's just a that's such a great thing, and yeah, and you get to
Yeah.
experience it. That's also really cool.
Yeah. I would say it's a great gift for someone. Yeah. To buy one. Yeah, sure. But I'm saying, like, if you come across an exotic car rental place, they have a lot of those in Las Vegas and Miami and stuff like that, and you want to experience one for the day, even Turo has that now.
Mhm.
You could rent, I think I rented a Ferrari California last year from Turo, and it was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, do
Yeah,
it.
awesome. Well, this is Aaron,
This is Kristen.
and this is Drive Mode Show, Supercar Edition.